Hello, I'm Darren Ruffle.
And I'm Eric Black from the whole Latte Love sales team.
And today we are going to go over the Capresso CoffeeTEAM TS, which we have here, and the CoffeeTEAM GS, which we have down there. And Eric, if you'd be so kind to unbox that for me.
All right, not a problem. Let me hand you a few of the accessories here, Darren.
All right. Here we have the charcoal filter and the charcoal filter holder. The GoldTone filter. The coffee scoop for your pre-ground coffee. Of course, the manual. Lid for the bean hopper.
Alright.
You want to pop the machine out?
Yeah.
I got you, bud. Alright.
Alright.
So the first thing is I mentioned the charcoal filter. I actually highly recommend using this for two reasons. Number one, it just helps the quality of the taste of your coffee. A nice filtered water always makes the coffee taste better. But most importantly, it helps filter out some of the impurities and minerals in the water so it doesn't get into the internals for the machine, which will go a long way for the overall maintenance of the machine. And to put this in, first you put the filter in the slot here. Then you probably can't see in the reservoir because it's dark in there, but you just slide it in and it literally just pops in there like that. Easy enough to do. And so we'll focus on the TS here. The first thing that I like about this is it's pretty much mandatory for me to have a machine that has an auto on off feature when you pop the carafe out, because if you're like me, I can't wait for 10 cups to be brewed. So it'll shut on and off and continuous brewing cycle as soon as you turn it on. The CoffeeTEAM GS actually has a heating plate, and that'll stay on for about 2 hours.
There we go.
Keeps your coffee hot. The thermal carafe actually does a really good job. Keeps the coffee hot for a pretty long time.
How long?
It takes generally, I've drank it 4 hours after. It's still been pretty hot.
Oh,
So
good.
up to about 4 hours I found with this machine. So the second thing I like about this machine is the ability to use the grind and brew or the actual brew, which is nice to have, because if you're like my household, my wife likes one kind of coffee, I like the other. So what we'll do is, and it's easy to go back and forth. Right now the brew button is illuminated, sorry, not eliminated. And to go to the grind and brew, if you want to use that, you just press that. Grind and brew is illuminated, and you would just hit the button and it would start the grind process and brew your coffee for you. You go back to brew button, you hit that and it'll start brewing.
And you just put it in your filter basket?
Yeah, for that you would just pop open the front here if it's brew. You take your coffee scoop. Do you want to hand me the GoldTone filter?
Sure, there's one right there.
And you just put your coffee in there. And then just brew directly. So it's actually very nice in that respect. The time is, what time is it, Eric?
And it's about 3:45
Okay, so
on the nose.
we are a little late here. So to set the timer, just hit the program button, the hour. I'm going to go all the way around. It was like 4:15 and it's 3:45, you said?
Yes,
That late?
3:46 now.
3:46 now. And voila, it is now 3:46. And it's nice because you can actually, it has a auto on feature in the morning.
Oh, nice.
Which is nice. It'll come on. Typically, I recommend, if you get up at 6 o'clock like me, you would set it to turn on at about 1:45.
Right.
And you'll be upstairs and you'll hear the grinder start grinding, and it's like a secondary alarm. Really.
So it goes right through the whole process.
Yeah, it goes right through the whole process. Brews the coffee for you, and you're good to go as soon as you get up.
Nice.
The one thing that I found with this is that it has quite a bit of adjustability in it. Of course, there's the grinder part, which you can grind from a fine grind to a coarse grind. And a lot of people recommend for more of a lighter roast, you would do the fine grind. For a darker roast, you would do a coarse grind. You can also adjust the amount of coffee that it grinds by pressing this aroma button on the front. And this is for how much coffee it actually grinds. So grind less coffee, put it on the light coffee bean. To put it on a dark coffee, put it on the dark coffee bean.
So Darren, one of the questions we get a lot from customers calling in about grind and brew units is that the coffee never seems strong enough for them. It sounds like with all this adjustability that you can pinpoint the right grind setting for a specific coffee.
Yeah, there's actually a little trick that I learned. So I like a pretty dark roast myself. But one of the important things about axial grind and brew is the quality of the grinder. You want a burr grinder, just like your espresso machines or French roast. It always does best with a burr grinder as opposed to a blade
Consistency
grinder.
of the grind, is that what it has to do with?
Consistency of the grind. Think of a blade grinder as like a ceiling fan, just kind of chopping away and never really does consistent. With the burr grinder, it uses a nice consistent grind, so you get the perfect extraction every time. And that's one of the reasons why you get pretty good extraction with this. What I have found is I like my coffee pretty dark in the morning.
Right.
I use a darker roasted bean, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to put it on the finest grind setting, because you have to look at the bean. If you pour a little bit of ethereal in there, that's actually what I use every morning.
Alright.
By the way, if this is full with beans, it'll brew up to 2 pots or 20 cups of coffee. It's just quite a bit of coffee.
You want to give us a demonstration of how this brews?
Yeah, if you look at this bean first, see how it's kind of dark, but there's no oil, so you don't necessarily have to worry about the grinder, being on a coarse setting for oily beans. So you'll see there's a chamber here, and you'll see the ground coffee kind of come shooting out. And if you don't see any coffee coming out, you can pop this off and make sure it's clean in case it starts getting any clogging. I have never had it happen to me, but it is an option in the manual that if you did see that, something that you can do. To brew the coffee, you actually has up to 10 cups, and if you look inside here, I'm not sure if you can get in there with the camera, but it's just a stepped setting. So if you want to put it up to, you want to pour in 4 cups for me, Eric?
Oh, you're asking the guy who spills all over the place. Here we go, up to 4 cups. There we go, 4 cups.
Yep. So we have 4 cups of coffee, and again, to go back and forth between the grind and brew, we'll use the grinder this time.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that I found to get a nice good extraction is if you don't think it's dark enough for you, I'll actually fill it up with 4 cups, but I'll set it to brew 10 cups. So it's grinding for, not 10 cups. If I were to do 4, I'd probably do 6. If I were to do 8, I'd do 10. So actually grind for 10 cups even though you're brewing 8 cups.
More coffee than what you have fluid.
Right, so here it's at 10, and we put in 4 cups. I'll put it at 6, which I experimented with this a couple weeks, and I found that's actually a very good way to do the adjustability. I tend to always leave it near the finer grind, either one of the first 3 settings. I like to adjust it while it's actually grinding, so when you hit the brew button here, grind, it just, I think you get a better setting that way. But we'll do the grind and brew, and you simply just press, it's on grind and brew, you hit the on button, and you'll hear the grinder engage, and your coffee will... and you start to hear the brew start. So, and one of the nice things I like about this too is that it actually brews pretty fast. Literally 4 cups takes about 4 minutes. By the time we're done with this, pot will be full. And it's kind of counterintuitive. Why would I want it to brew fast with a drip coffee maker? Well, typically if you have a real slow brewer, it'll be brewing and tend to over extract the coffee.
Right.
With a fast brewer, it extracts a good part of the bean, and then you're left with just some of the stale, bitter notes that are left in the actual grind. So it's a nice fast brewer. To clean the item, the product, it said the charcoal filter. Oh, by the way, when you put in the charcoal filter on the TS, there's an actual filter indicator that you just press that button. And if you want to just quickly go over the buttons here, here's your mode, brew or grind and brew. Here's your amount of cups. Here's the coffee aroma, how much coffee it grinds. Here's your filter indicator. Here's your hour and minute. And here's your program. You would use this to change the hour and minutes as well as to set the time and the auto on and off feature. To scale the machine, what you want to do, actually for an overall maintenance, you want to run a descaler agent through it, like a Ernix or Durgal product. And what you would do with that is you would remove both the GoldTone filter as well as the charcoal filter. Fill it with about 18 ounces of water, and then you don't want to use the grinder when you're descaling. You just put it under brew mode. Just brew it through. It'll go into your pot, and then when you're done, fill it full with just cold water and just brew an empty pot of just cold water or just water through it, and that'll clean out the internals. It's pretty easy to do. The machine's got a 1-year warranty through Capresso. It's about 15.5 inches high, 9.5 inches wide, about 10 inches deep, so not a very large profile.
It'll fit underneath your cabinets at that height, so
Yep.
wouldn't be a problem there. The other nice feature I like about this, Darren, it also has cord storage. So, you know, depending on you know, how much cord you need, you can either pull it out, leave it in, and you don't have extra cord laying all behind the machine.
Yeah.
Keeps it nice and neat.
So to summarize, what I like about the Capresso CoffeeTEAM TS and the GS is the auto-on feature, the thermal carafe, as well as the heating plate. I like the option to be able to use a grinder or just brew directly without using the grinder. I like the adjustability on the grind settings. I like that it's a burr grinder as opposed to a blade grinder. I like that you can adjust how much coffee that it can grind. I like that you have the on-off feature. I mean, really, I like that it's a fast brewer. I mean, really, it isn't much that I don't like about this coffee machine. It does a really good job. It really gives you the best bang for your buck, I think. So.
How about a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I think we're ready. I know Randy was walking by, saw us doing this video. It's the first thing you brewing, so.
Well, Randy didn't have to stand here and help me with this, so I'm getting the coffee.
There you go, sir.
There we go. Thank you.
Enjoy, happy brewing, and thanks for attending.
Take care.